In my last video, I showed you how to make tomato sauce from a bird's eye perspective. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate how to can tomatoes using a method called raw packing, and I'm going to be a little more detailed. First, remove the stem area of your tomatoes, as well as any damaged flesh. We want to peel our tomatoes, and to make that easier, we're going to blanch them in some hot water. Have your pot of hot water boiling or close to boiling and add your tomatoes. They should be in here for about 30 to 60 seconds. Usually your tomato skins will burst when the tomatoes are ready to be pulled out of the hot water. Remove them quickly once this happens and put them in an ice bath to cool them. Once your tomatoes have cooled enough, you can begin to peel them. Just remove the skin like this. It should be very easy. If you find any more damaged areas, such as at the top of this tomato, you can remove it with a knife, or you might even try using your fingers if you're more comfortable with that. Modern tomatoes are considered to be unsuitable for water bath canning without adding some sort of acidifier because they have a lower acidity naturally. So I will be adding 2 tablespoons of lemon juice to each quart jar and 1 tablespoon of lemon juice to each pint jar. As you peel each tomato, check it for obvious blemishes. You can also cut your tomatoes into halves or quarters or slices if you prefer. I'm just going to pack these ones whole. You can also add pickling salt to your canned tomatoes if you so desire. Using a utensil that is preferably non-metallic, such as rubber or plastic, you want to release the air in your jars that's around the tomatoes, like this. This, among other things, helps reduce the likelihood of the liquid siphoning out of the jar, which we'll discuss later in the video. Now you'll want to take a clean cloth and wipe the rims of your jars to help remove any debris. You want to make sure that your jars don't have any chips or anything, that may prevent a good seal. Now, I've already selected and boiled my jar lids. I prefer to use new canning lids, but I will admit I do reuse some old ones if they look like they're in good condition. To ensure a good seal rate, you're supposed to use new lids every time, unless they're the resealing lids. Pull each lid directly from the hot water and apply it directly to the jar. You want to make sure that your lid is centered on the jar. And I actually made a large pot of cheese and then ricotta cheese with the whey, so I had to wash my water bath canner. But it's ready now, and it's got moderately hot water in it. You want the water to be about the temperature of the contents of the jars. I don't like it to be super hot when I put the jars in, or super cold, as this may increase the likelihood of the jars breaking. My water bath canner holds up to 7 quarts at a time. I only processed enough tomatoes to fill 6 jars though, so that's what we're doing today. Gently lower your rack into the water. You'll want your jars to all be covered, but you don't want your water bath canner to be so full that water is spilling out the top if you can help it. I prefer to not heat up my water bath canner too fast. Medium high is about the highest that I want to start it off at. Heat it more slowly to help reduce the likelihood of your jars breaking. And while I'm waiting for the water bath canner to heat up, I have a little bit of extra corn from the garden I went to throw in the freezer. So this is from the corn that I started back in mid-April in pots for the last danger of frost. Process your tomatoes at a full rolling boil for 85 minutes if you live at an altitude of 0 to 1,000 feet. Tomato jars have had a chance to cool overnight. They've all sealed. This jar, as you can see, has had some of the liquid siphoned out, but it's not extreme. See, if it had had more than half of the liquid siphoned out, then you would have wanted to stick it in the fridge and eat it quickly. But the siphoning wasn't extreme, so you don't need to do that. Siphoning is more likely when you're using the raw pack method. Some things you can do to help reduce siphoning are screw your bands on all the way, and don't remove your jars from the water bath canner too quickly. If possible, turn off the temp, let them cool for a few minutes before lifting the rack out, letting them cool a few more minutes, and then removing them from the water bath canner. The thing you may notice is that the tomato liquids have separated from the tomato solids. That is actually very common with raw packed tomatoes. Good news is it's not that big of a deal, except that cosmetically it doesn't look as good. What causes tomato solids to separate? Well, when you have raw tomatoes and you start cutting them before you cook them, the tomatoes actually release an enzyme which reduces the pectin and causes your tomatoes to want to separate upon cooking. Since we only planted our tomatoes, we technically did a raw pack. Alright, well this concludes our video on canning tomatoes at home. I try to can all of our family's tomato products such as salsa, tomato sauce, and crushed tomatoes, canned tomatoes. So this was a baby step in the direction of meeting that goal for 2025. Last year I had to buy, I think, a couple cans of crushed tomatoes and a can of tomato paste at the end of the season, but hopefully this next year we'll have enough.